Hi, I'm John Williamson and welcome to this training video which is Search Engine Optimization SEO Power Secrets. So the reason that we put this together is there's a lot of different opinions that you'll read online. I've read a ton of different material on search engine optimization, and everyone seems to have their own opinion, and I'm not really too bothered personally about who's right and who's wrong. I don't think there is a right and a wrong. All I'm bothered about is finding ways that actually work, things that you can do a small amount of work and get a big amount of results out of it. And what I'm about to show you, the exact things that Rick and I built our two main businesses using, and we win all of our sales for those businesses online, and they are two real-world businesses as well. They're not online specific. One of them is a manufacturing business where we make bespoke products and we sell all over the UK, and the other one is a local services business. And both of those businesses, as far as I know, are the leaders of their markets. I don't know any other businesses who sell as much volume as we do online, who are in our niches. So what I'm about to show you, it really works. And I want to start off really by just I suppose giving you my way of looking at search engine optimization. This is just the way that I see it, and it seems to explain how it all works pretty well. And I'm just going to say Google when I talk about search engines, because it's the only one that really counts. I know there are others out there that matter, but if you're optimizing for Google, then you're optimizing for everything else. So I'm going to talk specifically about Google, but just take that as meaning all search engines. So what's search engine optimization all about? Well, if you think about it, imagine that you're Google for a moment. Google's your company. Google really has one main aim with how its search engine works, and that is to present the person who's typing into the search box. So if you're typing in, searching for something on Google, Google's main aim is to give you the best quality results that it can on page one, so that you like those results and you come back and use Google again. It's pretty much as simple as that. If Google gave you a list of pages and its results, and you had to go through several of them to find what you were looking for, or none of the first ones had what you were looking for, you'd stop using Google pretty quickly. So Google looks at all the pages on the internet, and there's billions of them, and what it has to do is not a person. It doesn't look at them very quickly, and I'm sorry if you understand this already, but I just want to sort of explain it in as simple terms as possible. So yeah, it's not a person that goes through and looks at every one of these web pages. It scans these pages in milliseconds or even faster, and it has to have a way of trying to decide what's on these pages, so that when someone types something into the search box, it brings up relevant results for them. So what it does is it looks through every page very quickly and just records certain pieces of information that are on each page. And I'm going to explain what those different bits of information are. And depending, it doesn't understand the words that are in those bits of code that are on those specific lines of code. It doesn't actually understand what those words mean, although it probably understands more than we all think. But it doesn't read them as such, like we read words and we know what they mean. All it does is record what those actual words are. So this links back to the keyword exercise that I've already taken you through in the first video. And the point of understanding keywords is that Google will look through all these key bits of data that it records on its pages, and it will look for matching words and phrases that match your keywords. And the more common that keyword appears on a certain page, the more likely Google thinks that page is going to be a good result. It's looking through all its pages, and it's thinking, okay, how can I show this guy exactly what he's looking for? And it looks at up to 7 people. Well, it actually looks at over 100 different pieces of information. I'm just going to show you the ones that I believe that have worked for us as being the main ones that you want to make sure that you're covering. So it looks at those bits of information and it says, okay, I can see those words are appearing there, and it will just bring up as a result the pages where it sees those words appearing most often, because to Google, if those words are appearing often, then that page is probably got a high likelihood of being about what you're searching for. Okay, so I'm going to show you the different elements of a page that Google looks at, and then I'm going to show you how to take the keywords that you can do from a keyword research exercise, as I've already taken you through, and I'm going to show you how to very easily and very quickly insert them into those locations so Google is reading your page properly. Now, the first place that Google's going to look is going to look at the URL, which is the location where your page is stored on the internet, and it's going to record that. It's then going to look at the page title. Now, that is hidden in the code. It's not actually something that you see yourself on page, so you may not have edited this. You may have edited it. I'm going to show you how to edit it properly so that Google sees the right keyword that you want it to see in there. So it records URL, it records the page title, then it looks at the page description, or that's also known as the meta description, and that again is something that's not on the screen. That's something that you've not typed on the page. That's something that's edited in the code. But I'm going to show you how to change that without having to know anything about coding at all. So it looks at the page description, and then it records what's in the main heading of the page, and it's called the H1 tag. And that's how Google knows that it's the main heading, because it's wrapped in what's called a H1 tag. So that is something that's on your page, and I'm going to show you how to label that properly as well. And it'll then read your content. It won't read it, but it'll record what's in your content. So it's important to have your keywords in the content as well. And in the content, that is the first opportunity that you've got to use your secondary keywords. The URL, page title, description, and main heading, you should just be using your primary keyword in there. A big mistake that I see is people trying to stuff loads of keywords into the page descriptions and also into the page titles, and that's not a good idea. What you should be doing is just using your primary keyword in these first 4 elements, and then in your content you can use your primary keyword first, and then you should be using your secondary keywords. And there's a certain way of doing that I'm going to show you, where what it's all really about is making the keywords sound natural to the reader. If you're just stuffing keywords in willy-nilly, then the reader, you might rank well in Google, but someone's going to actually get onto that page, they're going to read it, and it's just not going to sound natural, and they're not going to want to buy from you, because it will come across like you're trying to deceive. You're trying to deceive them in some way. It's not a naturally reading page, if that makes sense. So I'm going to show you how to do that. The next thing it'll do is it'll look at all the files that are, all the image files that are on your page. So it won't actually be able to look at the pictures and know what's in the pictures, but what it will be able to do is it'll be able to look at the actual file name of your image, and it'll be able to look at what's called the alt tag of your image. And both of those things are very important to make sure you've got your keywords in. And again, if you've got multiple images on your page, then that's an opportunity to use your primary keyword in the first image, and then your secondary keywords in the remaining image. So I'm just going to jump straight in and show you how to actually do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to set up a page. I'm going to do it in WordPress. Now I understand you might not actually have your website in WordPress, but it doesn't matter, because what I'm showing you is how to use the keywords in the different places on your page. So it doesn't matter what your website is built in. You're going to have access to all of these elements, and what you're going to learn here is how to use your keywords in those particular elements. And I'm actually going to do it in our manufacturing business website, which is Tiles on Tables website. So the first thing that you're going to need if you do have WordPress is a handy little plugin, which is an SEO plugin called Yoast SEO, which is YOAST. Yoast SEO. So if you install that and then you go to any of your pages, I'm going to show you how to insert those keywords. So I'm just going to take this first page, because this is a page that we're not using. and click edit and go in there, and I'll show you how the plugin actually looks. And all it basically does is just give you access to the SEO elements right at the top of the page, so you don't have to go looking for them in the code or anything like that. So just going back to our list, you can see the first one in the list is the URL. That's the first place we want to be putting a keyword, which is here in this particular plugin. So I'm going to use, okay, the first thing then is that in that URL we want to be putting our primary keyword, and we can see that man-made diamonds UK is our primary keyword. So I'm just going to copy that, and I'm just going to paste it straight into the URL. So you can see the first part of the URL is fixed. That's our domain, which is tilesontables.co.uk / and then you've got the primary keyword in there. So what Google does is it knows to separate words when it sees a hyphen amongst other things. So a hyphen is what you should use instead of having a space. It won't like spaces. It won't recognize a space. It'll just see it all as one word. So just put a hyphen there, and just click OK, and then you've now got your URL SEO'd. And as simple as that looks, you know, I've worked on so many websites and nobody ever does this, and it's so basic, obviously, and you can obviously see the benefit of it. We know that people are typing in that keyword more than any other keyword in our potential market. So having the URL with that keyword in there, you know, it makes total logical sense. Why would you not have it in there? So I'll move on to the next one anyway, and that brings us down into this sort of second panel here. And just for the sake of anyone who's, you know, if you're using WordPress SEO, see there's the name of it, WordPress SEO by Yoast. If you're using it, then just paste in your keyword in there, and it's just gonna give you this little indicator thing to show you where you've used your keywords. And this little snippet preview there, that shows you how your results are going to look when it comes up in Google. So I'll walk you through these elements. So what's the next one on our list? It's the page title. Okay, so here we go, SEO title. So what you want to be doing with the SEO title, this is, although you don't see it on the page, what you can see here is in the results, in Google results, the person who sees these results will see this title. That's it, that blue one there. So what you want to do there is you want to capitalize the start of all your words, just so it reads like a proper page title there. And then what you also want to do is you want to add in your domain name there. Now, this isn't this diamonds page is not actually for this particular website. I would put the actual website name in there of the website that I'm building it. But being as we're building it at tilesontables.co.uk, I'm going to leave it as it is, and you can see how I've done it. I've just capitalized the two words so that when you actually read it there, you can read it as two separate words. What it's all about really is making it look in the search results like an actual title, so someone's more likely to click on it. Underneath in the green there, you can already see it's already added the URL in there, so that's working as well. So already Google's looking at this page and it's seeing man-made diamonds in the URL. It's seeing man-made diamonds in the page title, and it's seeing the domain name as well. So it's linking the domain name to the keyword, which is a good thing. And then the meta description is the last thing. Now, this is the small amount of black text that you get on a Google listing. Now, Google doesn't always use this when it displays a listing. It'll use whatever it wants to, but you can really optimize the chances of it using the title that you want, you know, the description that you want, by inserting the keyword in there. People will argue over whether or not Google will rank your site based on having a keyword in this description, but in my opinion you should have it in there so that it's, you know, optimizing your chance of getting the right description in front of your customers. Because at the end of the day, what this description is, the job of this description in a Google listing or any search engine listing is it's like your only chance to sell your website to someone who is looking for, you know, potentially for your product. So this word in here should be written like a, you know, like a good headline. Like it should have a factor of appeal in it, something that makes people want to click through to your website. So what I've written here, this was to do with a tables page that we were going to set up, and I'll put click here to see Abacus contemporary tables. So contemporary oak tables used to be the keyword. So what I'm going to do is just replace that with the keyword that we're using now. So Abacus man-made diamonds UK, and then design. Okay, and then what we're going to say is design your own diamond from scratch with Abacus. Okay, so now you can see, and it already says there, click here. That's a little trick somebody showed me, who taught me all about this SEO stuff. So click here to see is a good way to start off a description, because that's really what you're trying to get people to do. You're trying to get them to click here. So by asking them to click here in the title and giving them a reason to click, you know, that's a smart thing to do. So that's the description, and you can now see that you've got your keyword in the description, you've got it in the title, you've got it in the URL. So we've covered these first three bases: URL, page title, page description. You've got keywords in all of them. Okay, so the next one is the H1 tag. Now on these particular pages, the way it's set up, I think sometimes it'll put the H1, it'll surround this title at the top of the page in the H1 tag, and sometimes you can just do it yourself in the copy, in the initial copy on the page. So what I would do, this this is the first thing that people who click through to your site will actually see. It's the heading that's at the top of your page, or, you know, it's the main heading on your page, depending on how, you know, you might have an image right at the top of your page, but it's the first bit of wording on your page, or at least it should be. That's where the H1 tag should be. So I'm going to paste in there our keyword. Now, man-made diamonds UK. So you've got that keyword in there. What you might want to do is you might want to make that title a little bit more appealing. So you could say, you know, the most beautiful. That's not I wouldn't actually use that title. But I just want to illustrate the fact that you can have you can use a keyword in the title, but you can just make it part of a bigger title, a more appealing title. It's not, so it doesn't have to limit how, you know, it doesn't have to limit how nice your keyword looks, or, you know, the job of the page title, which is to make people read the page. Sorry, the page heading. You know, you can have the keyword in there, and you can still make it an appealing page heading, which is going to make people interested in reading the page. As I mentioned before, on this particular page setup, we actually had the H1 tags, the heading, right at the top of the page down here, as well as up there. So just a bolt and braces exercise, just to make sure you're picking up the right heading that Google's going to pick up. I'm just going to add the heading in there. So what did I call it? The most. I'll tell you a much quicker way of doing it than that. Let's just copy that, and let's just paste it in there. Okay, so there's another heading in there. If you're using WordPress, if you want to know how to do the H1 heading, you see this thing up here. Most everything when you start typing in WordPress normally is just in paragraph format. So if you want to make that the H1 heading, just click in that box and select H1, and that's it. Okay, so let's just take a look at our list again. So we've done the H1 main heading, now the content. So the first thing that you want to do is get your primary keyword in as close to the top of the page as possible in your content. So, I mean, there's obviously we're talking about tables here, and then we're using diamond keywords, so it doesn't make perfect logical sense. But I'll just show you. I would insert it right at the top of this word. So Abacus is a brand of, and then where you said tables, where you're using the words to describe the product, I would just paste. I would paste it in. I've used the actual page title there. So you want to get the keyword in. So Abacus is a brand of man-made diamonds UK. That has every factor to make it look home a little bit more. Now, the only thing with this primary keyword is it's got UK in there, and it just makes it, you know, it doesn't really read. You wouldn't actually, if you were just writing a sentence, you wouldn't actually put UK in there. So I would urge you to find a way. I'm not going to go to the trouble of working out different ways of fitting this keyword in there naturally on this occasion, but I would just urge you to make sure that wherever you paste a keyword in, it does sound natural. It sounds as just like a normal sentence, as you would say, or as you would normally write it. So you've got your primary keyword and it's right near the top of the copy, which is good. Now what you want to do is you want to go to your next to your secondary keywords, and you want to copy those and find opportunities to insert those into the copy down the page. So there's abacus table, so where we've put table there, I'll paste it in there. So abacus synthetic diamonds UK. Again, these keywords aren't brilliant for inserting into copy because they've got this UK element in there. So what I would probably do, so the next one down doesn't have that, so that's going to sound much more natural. So let's paste that one in there. So abacus lab grown diamonds there. So that fits into the copy. It sounds a little bit more natural. And that's what you want, really. I would advise you, I mean, there's quite a lot of copy on this page all the way down, so I would take quite a bit of time over this and just insert those keywords where they're going to sound as natural as possible. Maybe adjust the copy a little bit around them if it makes them sound that little bit more natural. But what I've learned is rather than try and write copy to fit keywords into, I just write the copy as I would write it normally, and then I would just look at the keywords and just grab them and insert them wherever they're going to sound most natural. Because you want to write the copy primarily to sell what you're trying to sell, and then the keywords are just being inserted in there so that Google's picking them up, and so that they're going to bring traffic for people who are searching for lab-grown diamonds, for example. Okay, so that's how to insert keywords into the copy naturally. So we've got them into the content. Now the image file name. So if I just take the first image on the page, that's where we should be having the primary keyword. So you can see that with this page, we didn't actually start using this page, but you can see what I've done there is that you can see that you've got the actual image type, the image name, the file name is there in the image URL. So this is what Google's actually going to see when it looks at the code of your page. It's going to see this whole description, and then it's going to see the actual name for your image. So a smart thing to do is name your image using the keyword. So I'm not going to go to the trouble of actually renaming an image, but what I would do, let's do it for this one. Let's just take the text, and what I would do is this. You can do it in a couple of ways. The guy that showed me how to do this, he capitalized each word like that, and then obviously it's a JPEG file, so it'd look like that, and that's how he taught us to do it. And to be fair to him, our website, all of our websites have got all of the pages that we try to get ranked on Google, the ones that drive our businesses, have all got their images named like that. So that's a pretty safe way to go if you want something that works. And another thing that we do is we would add the name of the business in there as well, because then you're associating the name of your business with the keyword. So Google's just building that relationship stronger and stronger. Another way that you could do it though, which will also work, is, as I've already said, using just the hyphen separator between the different words in the keywords. There's no so you don't need to use capitals. I'll just do it all in lowercase if you were doing it this way. Okay, so there are your different ways that you can name your images. Again, this is something that very, very few people do. Even one business in particular that we worked with, who are turning over several million a year. They're a big online retailer, and obviously they've got thousands of images, but you know, if they just went to the trouble, I mean, they've got a lot of competition as well, but if they just went to the trouble every time they added a new product to the site of just naming the few images on that one page and just got into that habit, it would give them such a stronger presence in search engines. It would give them a big advantage over the competition, because they're selling branded products that other companies are selling. So you can understand the power of having a keyword inside your image titles when your competition aren't doing it. It just gives you the advantage over them. And the other thing to note with these image titles, again, if you've got multiple images on your page, then you want to be using these keyword image names. Sorry, the file names, these keyword file names for all of your images. So do it right down your page and just make sure the one at the top of the page has got your primary keyword in, because the things that Google sees first on your page are the things that it gives most prominence to. It sees as being most important. Okay, and then the final thing to do with images, you see you've got these two elements in WordPress with your images that are important. You've got the image title, and then you've got alt text. Now, I've not read anywhere that image title really matters in terms of keywords, but you know, if you want to rank as well as possible and do everything possible to increase your chances, then why not put your keyword in there? You know, it makes perfect sense, because Google's going to read it. It's an image title. It's an element of code on the page. So why not put it in there? So I would do the same thing. I would load the keyword in there, and I would load the your business name in there as well. And then the alt text. Now, this is for sure that Google does look at images. One of the things it'll look at in every single image is the alt text, the alt tag. So always put your keyword in the alt tag, and yeah, for good measure, you should put your business name in there as well. So that's how to optimize your images on the page. I'll just click update image there. What's left to do then, if you've been doing this in WordPress, is just click update, and it's going to save that page. It's going to save all the work that you've done, and your page is going to be ready for Google to index. You can, if you've got webmaster tools with Google, then you can go in there and you can actually copy and paste the URL in there and request for the page to be crawled or indexed. So that's going to get Google to register all this new information even quicker if you do that. And that's really it. We've gone through all our list. We've added our primary keyword into the URL, into the page title, the page description, and into the H1 heading. We've put it into the content along with our secondary keywords. For the first image on the page, we've used the primary keyword in the file name. For the remaining images, you would use the secondary keyword in the file name, and this is the format we use, with a capitalized letter at the start of each different word. You can just as well do it with a hyphen in between each word if you like. And then with the image alt tag, using the same thing again. Use the primary keyword in the first image on the page, and then the secondary keywords in the following images. You found that useful then. When I was first showed how to do all that stuff, I couldn't really believe how easy it was, and I didn't really expect to get fast results from it, but it did work for our particular businesses very quickly. Over the space of a few weeks, we noticed our traffic and our inquiries jumping sort of very quickly indeed. And that's probably to do with the fact that we didn't really know anything about SEO before it. And you might know a little bit about SEO. I'm sure you know more about it than I did when I first learned all this stuff. But one thing that I do know for sure is, of all the businesses that I've worked with over the past couple of years, none of them put the keyword. None of them actually understand what their keywords are. The exercise from the first video. That is such a crucial exercise, and then doing that exercise, then putting them into those places, into those 7 places that I've showed you in the particular way that I showed you to do it, that, like I said, that's built our businesses from almost failing to booming to literally the top of their markets in the UK. So I can only recommend that you do it for your pages. Take your time with it. Don't give yourself a ton of work to do. Just work through one page at a time. If there's a particular product or service on your website that you want to start selling more of, it might be the one that's suffering most, or it might be the one that's most profitable for you. Then do it to that one first, and just work your way through the different pages, and you're just going to get a steady increase in your traffic and in your sales. It's pretty much as simple as that. I just want to leave you with a couple of thoughts on sort of monthly work to do. And you really don't have to do anything monthly, but everything that you do is going to help. And I just want to sort of explain my thinking as to why that is. So Google looks on your pages and it looks at these elements. And like I say, I've only shown you what I call the fundamental ones. There's tons of them. It measures over 100 different things about every page to decide what rank it's gonna give your page in a search engine. But it looks at these things and it understands it tries to understand what's on the page based on keywords and probably a few other things, but keywords fundamentally. And what it also does is it also ranks your page based on what it sees as the quality of your page. And the way that it does that is there's a couple of ways in my view as how it does it. I mean, because at the end of the day, it might be an algorithm or a robot or a spider or whatever you would call it. But at the end of the day, if in an ideal world, Google would look at every single page with a real person would look at that page and know for it and look at the data itself. So to decide if it's a good quality page. And so the things that it looks at is it looks at how many people go into that page first of all. So the more traffic you get, the more visitors you get, the better ranking you're going to get. It's pretty much as simple as that, because Google's going to think, okay, so there's a lot of people going to this page, so it obviously must contain good information. People are spreading the word. People are finding it in lots of different places. It's getting a lot of traffic, a steady increasing amount of traffic as well. So that must mean that it's got some good stuff on there, and it'll look at how long people are spending on the page, and that's to do with the amount of content you've got on there, not just the amount of content, but how entertaining, how good it is to read. And we're gonna cover that in the final video in this series. We're going to give you some really awesome information and a real eye opener as to what makes good page content. And the other thing that you'll get SEO companies trying to sell to you is they'll try to put links back to your site from different places, and the way that the right way to do it is to write in blog posts or social media posts containing some good information, and then what the way that it's done is to use a keyword, make that keyword into a link, and link it to your page. So if we were doing the page that we've just gone through, we would use the primary keyword from our keyword research exercise. Then we'd have a post somewhere, whether it be a blog post or a social media post, and in that post it would be about man-made diamonds. It'd be something to do with man-made diamonds or jewelry or something related to it, and then the primary keyword that would be made into a link, and it would be linked to this page. And the more what Google will do is it'll think, okay, so there's an article written somewhere on the internet about this topic, and they've linked to this page, so that must mean that this page is a good source of information for this particular link, for this particular article, for this particular keyword, most importantly. So that again makes Google think this must be a good quality page. There must be some good stuff on here related to this particular keyword. And then the one other thing in terms of the page quality is really to do with how often the content is updated. So if you think about it, if there was two pages, both with the same primary keyword, and they're both competing for the same audience, Google looks at these pages let's say it looks at them every month. One page, it looks exactly the same the next month. The other page, it's changed a little bit. It might have an extra image or a different image, or it might have some more content, or it might have, you know, some more links in there. I suppose that's part of the content. It might have more images. It might have additional images, additional content. Something might have changed on it. So the interpretation of that is, if the content has changed, that means it's been updated. That's the only reason that you would change content. You've updated it. So what that tells Google is, okay, this site that doesn't change its I can't remember which hands I was using, but the site that's not changed its content, they don't keep their website up to date, or at least they don't do it as regularly as this other one. This other one has got some new stuff on there, so these guys must be on top of the game. They must be providing, you know, more up to date information for the people to their page. Therefore, I am going to present this as a better search result rather than the one with the static content that's not changing. So my advice to you, and this is, you know, the placing of articles in different places of the internet that link back to your page, that's one thing. The second thing, the updating of content on your page, those are things that SEO companies will sell to you. But in my opinion, those are very simple things that you can do yourself. And you will pay hundreds for an SEO company to do that, and in my experience, SEO companies don't do a good job. They try and find sneaky, cheating ways of doing it, and you know, Google find where, you know, Google, they're pretty smart. They'll see those cheating ways, and they will, you know, you will actually lose ranking if anything sneaky at all is being done. And in my opinion, an SEO company has got no incentive to really do it in with the same amount of care and attention as you have, because at the end of the day, they get paid for doing a certain amount of work. You get paid for doing work to a certain quality, because that's what dictates how much you sell. So my advice is, if you're considering, you know, if you don't want to pay someone to do it, and if you are keen that things are done well, then a little bit of SEO work each month would be just update your content on your page, maybe add an extra paragraph, maybe change a paragraph or two, maybe add in an extra image, you know, add in a testimonial, you know, put real things. If you produce products, then take a photograph or two of new products and stick them on your page. That's one of the things that we do, and our ranking keeps improving and improving on all of the pages that we do that on. If we get a testimonial from a customer, we stick that on the page as well as emailing it out to our list incidentally, which is a smart thing to do as well. So, you know, just find every time something happens in your business and you think, oh, that's a cool thing, I need to add that to my website, just put it somewhere, and then at the end of the month, just copy and paste it into your web page. Easy as pie. Google will love it. Your customers will love it. You know, if you get a testimonial, another good tip, if you get a testimonial, put the date in the testimonial as well, and then it shows, for people who are looking on the page, it shows that you are buying, you are selling things, and it's up to date, and people right now are buying from you, and it really improves the chance of them buying from you. It improves the trust in your website. And you know, I'm really getting into conversion stuff now, and that's what we're going to talk about in the fourth video in this series. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's going to generate you a lot more free traffic than you're getting already if there's any of these things you're not doing. So yeah, go for it. You know, take your time with it. Do a page at a time. Do it properly. And do a tiny little, you know, a little bit of work, 10-20 minutes work each month on a particular page, and you're just going to keep getting more and more free business, and it's all free. In the next video, we're going to show you a few different ways of getting as much business as you want, and that is the way that we do things now. SEO is how we built our businesses, is how we grew them. Now the way that we control them, we control how much business we do, is with what you're about to learn in the next video. So thanks for watching and enjoy it.